and welcome back inside the Tier 4 studio here at the Omni in Dallas, Texas. For the Charleston Gazette-Mail, I am Mike Casaza, and this is day 2 of our 2015 and 15 preview. Take a look ahead at the upcoming season for West Virginia. We started yesterday with a review of the first day of the Big 12 Media Days. Today we'll cap off the 2-day event, take you all the way through to August 3rd, which will be the 15th part, and the first day of practice at West Virginia. What went down today at Media Days? Not a whole heck of a lot. No Bob Bowlesby, so no major news about the Big 12. That all happened yesterday. But we did get some Big 12 information from Walt Anderson, the coordinator of officials. Walt usually has a lot to say and a lot to defend because in recent years we've seen major changes to the rule book. If you remember a few years ago, targeting was a big deal. So even some of the debates we've had in the past, whether in conversation or implementation or things like that, has dominated the talks with Anderson. Well, nothing major this year. No 10-second rule before the snap, no alterations to the rule book like you've seen in men's basketball. So there's been a freedom of focus for the officials to look a little bit closer, and what you have you might not like. Basically what Anderson said today that was most notable was officials will now have 2 specific powers to review plays that had not been under that scrutiny before. On punt plays, when there is a roughing call, and I believe that I should not be called for roughing because I tipped the ball, they can review that now. If they found that I tipped the ball, they'll pick up the flag. Similarly, if I roughed the punter and I didn't tip the ball, and they don't call a flag, they can review it, see I didn't tip the ball, and then throw the marker. That's going to be something that riles fans, I'm sure. Also on special teams, onside kicks will be a little bit more complicated, let's say. Right now, the kicking team cannot make contact with a receiving player within a 5-yard box. That will now be subject to review too. I could kick to you, my team can recover down by 2 points with 30 seconds left. There's a celebration, but that'll now be subject to review. And if they find that one of my blockers hit one of your receivers and let one of my players recover within that 5-yard zone, they're going to overturn the play. And all of a sudden, my celebration is muted pretty quickly. So that was the major news from Walt Anderson. And again, maybe there are no news is good news, but unfortunately there wasn't no news, and maybe those additional replay powers won't qualify as good news for you. Within the Big 12 conversation today, it was still a little bit about West Virginia, which I found to be interesting because the immediate reaction when you walk in the room today was that West Virginia still has a long way to go. Baylor is in the room, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas. Those are all teams that were picked higher than West Virginia in the preseason poll. All in one room today, and those are programs that either traditionally or recently have been very good. And it does make you wonder, wow, yesterday seems like a long day, a long ways away from today, when yesterday West Virginia felt so good about where it was and was pretty adamant with its language, and today is below 4 of the 5 teams in the poll that were in the room today. That said, though, there are coaches who know Dana Holgorsen here. We're talking Bob Stoops, we're talking Mike Gundy, who are out on hand today, and there are coaches who know West Virginia and their tradition, and Tony Gibson, like Paul Rhodes, and discussions with them kind of led to another favorable impression of West Virginia, which was that they have turned a corner, so to speak. A lot has to be done on the field, obviously, but as far as positioning, there was a satisfaction, at least, that Dana Holgorsen had aligned his roster the way he wanted to. There was a recognition that the defense was a lot better. It was very interesting to talk to other players who complimented West Virginia's defensive improvements last year from where the defense had been in the previous years. Much more aggressive, much more collected, player responsibility being assignment sound was something that the competitors, whether offensive linemen or receivers or quarterbacks, noted in Tony Gibson's defense, and that was something that Paul Rhodes, who knows Tony Gibson well, was equally complimentary of. Mike Gundy, for example, was also easy with the praise when it came to Dana Holgorsen and what he has done with his offense and what he will do with the offense here. Seems confident that Dana will find a way to best build an offense around Skyler Howard now. And obviously Mike Gundy knows not only the offense, but what it's like to insert the running quarterback into that. It's not a major change, and the best thing is that there's so much time now for Howard to have worked with that it should be something that the receivers, and the running backs, and especially the offensive linemen are used to. It is a change when the guy behind you throwing you the passes or standing in the pocket or handing off is a guy who can keep it and run and work around your blocking and maybe be out of the pocket and not where you expect to see him throwing the ball from. So time has been an ally for West Virginia for the offense, and that is something that a lot of people think will be a strength for West Virginia when the season comes, because it's not something they've had before, whether the time to develop a guy or the legs to really move the pocket to keep the defense from being able to put a crosshair in the same spot over and over. So again, not a West Virginia day here. They did their thing Monday and flew home afterward, but again, the Mountaineers were indeed a topic of with some conversations, whether forced or voluntary, here at the second day of Big 12 Media Day. So we'll be back tomorrow with part 3 and a big question we'll try to address in the 2015 and 15 countdown. I'm Mike Casazza from the Charleston Gazette Mail. How about that? Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.